From Las Vegas, Nevada, the entertainment capital of the world, I'm David Gabbry, and this is the Vegas Faces podcast, where we talk with Las Vegas locals about what it's really like to live in the City of Lights. Whether you're living in Vegas, moving to Vegas, or just visiting Vegas and looking for new adventures, together let's discover the hidden gems that make Sin City the most visited place on earth. Hey everybody, welcome to Vegas Faces, where we talk to the people of Las Vegas. We find out what it's really like to live in the entertainment capital of the world. We've got a really fun guest today. Jonathan Morales is in studio. He is the founder and CEO of Upkeep, a local Vegas tech startup that provides home services on demand. I'm really excited to get into it today. Let's rock and roll. Jonathan, welcome to Vegas Faces.
Hey man, thanks for having me.
I'm excited. We got a CEO in the house. He brought Scotch. He brought a 12-year Scotch, the Balvenie. I still don't know if I'm pronouncing it right.
Oh, you are. You're doing a great job.
We've got any Scotch listeners out there. Balvenie, American Oak, 12-year. Let us know your thoughts.
Definitely one of my favorites. I mean, Balvenie does just a great job all around.
Thanks for bringing it. I feel like I'm in like the country club with you. Like I'm with the CEO drinking Scotch. We're going to talk business. We're going to talk about Vegas.
Absolutely.
I'm pumped. How does it feel to even be called CEO? Is that a weird thing for you?
It is. I'm still in the hospitality industry and just getting into this new CEO life of running the company, right? So it's still pretty weird to hear that term referred to me.
Is it weird also to be called an entrepreneur?
In a way, because I'm just, like I said, I'm just a regular guy that is trying to leave a small piece of myself in the world.
I'm really excited to talk to you about Upkeep. Is this your baby? Is this like your first business that you've started?
Second. I did a little bit of drop shipping and stuff like that on Amazon during the pandemic, but
right on.
Yeah, this is my baby, man. My bread and butter. I love it.
Right on. Okay. Tell me more about what Upkeep does and how you came up with the idea.
Yeah, I mean, we're an on-demand home service platform. We allow users, or in this case, locals of Las Vegas, to find local service providers around them and book instantly based on their current availability. We're talking the time and date that works for them, bringing the convenience that we already know we have. We have Amazon, we have Airbnb, we have Uber. So why not something to make our life better as a homeowner?
I've used things like this in the past, such as, of course, I'm going blank on the name.
Angie. Thumbtack,
yes. TaskRabbit. How do we differentiate from, I would imagine these are considered competitors?
Correct. I mean, we're all unique in the same way. We're all in the same space. And at the end of the day, I believe everybody can get a little bit of a piece of the pie, right? Talking about TaskRabbit, I mean, they give an opportunity to college students to really perform niches that they're good at, right? Like washing cars, grocery shop for people, you name it. Thumbtack, honestly, that's the most similar competitor to us. The only thing that differentiates us from them is that they're a broad category spectrum, right? So they don't only focus on home services. They also focus on DJs, wedding receptions, masseuses, you name it. They got it, right? And for us, we're just really focused on the home service space.
Okay. So anything that has to do with fixing up the home, and you guys connect the homeowner to already existing companies as opposed to someone who's just trying to make an extra couple bucks that may not even be licensed.
Correct.
Okay. And
the whole thing behind it was supporting local. It came up this idea came during the pandemic, and that was a huge thing for us, right? Supporting local. I always thought that the little guy or small, medium companies were not getting enough spotlight with Angie or Thumbtack. So I said, you know what? Let's create a platform where it's an even ecosystem based on their reviews and on their feedback and their ratings. They can scale up or scale down, right? Not have any type of influence whatsoever. I mean, one of the big guys in Las Vegas has to be Ghetto HVAC.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
Like, yeah.
Oh, yeah. We've used them.
Right. So they're massive, right? So they take over the whole valley. But what happens to X air conditioning?
Joe
cooling,
Schmo's
right?
plumbing supply or something like that.
He's still trying to make a living. So why not give him the spotlight for a little bit too?
Okay. So in simulation, if I'm the homeowner and I have a plumbing problem, I get on Upkeep and I search for plumbers in the area. Like you do it by the area or you do it by price. How do you narrow down the search?
So it'll be by both. Basically, the initial search would be by zip code, your zip code. You enter the category that you're interested in, zip code, and then you answer a set of questions depending on what you have. In this case, it would be a service call or an estimate. Nice. You enter a little bit of what you need. After that, all the companies around you or around your zip code are going to appear. You get to select them based on rating, and if this case is if it is a service call, you're basing it off of pricing as well if you'd like to, and then you just get to select the time that works for you and the date that works for you, and then you get to just pay or just book.
Wow. Okay. And then Upkeep takes a percentage. Like, how does that part work when it comes to commission and all that fun stuff?
Initially the first business model was based off of commission, but looking into it and just talking to my mentors, shout out to Chris. He made me realize that there could be opportunities that I'm missing, right? Where let's just say you book Joe Schmo's plumbing and he gets here and he says, well, how about you pay me cash instead of through the platform?
Sure.
Right. So I'm out of the equation. So in this case, we don't get a percentage of commission just yet until we can put that under control per se. What we're doing now is just selling it as a customer, right? We're just, okay, you get a customer, just give us a percentage of what that, not a percentage, sorry, a fee for that customer. And that's it. And that's your customer from moving on forward.
Because I've definitely seen that I've definitely done that too in TaskRabbit. It's okay, how much do you charge on TaskRabbit? How much does TaskRabbit take? Hey, how about we work something out? But then of course I've experienced people that prefer to stay on the app because of it's like a safety thing for them. They're like, well, I don't know that you're going to pay me. So now if I book through the app, I'm more comfortable and I know that I'm 100% going to get paid. And then I guess same for the homeowner themselves. It's like, what happens if the worker slacks on the job or something like that, or doesn't show up? It's almost like safety for both parties.
No, it works both ways, right? It works both ways where a service provider can come and you're not home, so it wasted their time, right? Well, I didn't even want to say waste, but it was just super inconvenience. But it could also work where you get the job done, but the work wasn't great. So how can you really contact this person? They're not going to pick up your phone. They're going to ghost you. Not all of them, but some of them are. This is just based on feedback. So what we do as well is just provides some sense of security between both provider and user to make sure that we keep you in communication and make sure that everything gets done right.
Very smart. What made you go this route from the idea that you wanted to start your own company?
I've always been super analytical. I saw a huge gap and of course, all my family, they've all had some type of landscaping business or something like that. So just influence on both. Growing up around the business side of things just kind of gave me that business grind, I guess. And seeing the gap just made me want to go for it even more.
Do you have anyone in your family that had their own business that you kind of adopted their work ethic or their path in terms of like, okay, here's how you start a business and here's what you're going to experience along the way?
Yes and no. My biggest I guess my sense of motivation, my role model has to be my great-grandfather. He was a huge merchant of farming goods in Mexico. Growing up, all my mother's siblings had a greenhouse company in Mexico. So growing up around that just really gave me a sense of business and I knew what I wanted to do.
Have they said anything like stay working, this is too risky? Or
At the beginning they did, because growing up around them, I wanted a sense of validation from them, so I would almost share almost everything with them. And once I realized that me sharing all of my ideas and sharing pretty much everything got me a lot of backfire negativity, negative comments from them. Yeah, no, it was bad for a while.
Because you're sharing it too early, like it's not ready for you to share yet?
It was just too innovative for them.
And they went over their heads and they didn't understand it?
Right. So they're more of a traditional business model, and everybody was encouraged me not to do it. And I said, you know what? At this point, I got to learn my lesson. So I stopped sharing. I don't share anymore. I'm very reserved and private. I do share with a couple friends that have had management experience and some type of business experience, and they kind of guided me through it.
Wow. So you're like Walter White. You're just kind of doing it on the DL, and just once it finally blows up, then people will find out about it.
Correct. Yeah.
Wow. And how long have you been doing Upkeep now?
So development process took 2 years just to create the web app and then also create the apps that we have. And then we did test beta here in Las Vegas for 3 months. And then we took a break to analyze feedback and then really improve the app itself. And then we're about to launch next week, man.
Wow, that's exciting.
Yeah,
so by the time
exciting.
This episode drops, you'll have launched.
Exactly.
Wow.
Yeah.
And it's always been in Vegas? Because, every time someone thinks tech company, they think Silicon Valley, right?
Right.
What made you, I guess you're from Vegas maybe, or how did you decide that I'm going to start a tech company in Vegas?
Well, to keep it simple, Vegas gave me everything that I have up to date. Just a city of opportunity for sure. I grew up between Los Angeles and Las Vegas, moving back and forth until my parents decided to retire, left to Mexico, lived out there for about 6 years. At 17, I moved back by myself and just really digged my own path.
And you said you work in hospitality as well?
Yeah.
You have a background in hospitality or something like that?
Yeah. So the executive chef at Golden Steer Steakhouse, he is my distant uncle, and he got me in.
Wow.
Yeah.
I've heard a lot of good things about Golden State. I haven't been there yet, but I've heard it always gets brought up. It's like a Vegas staple when it comes to steakhouses here in Vegas.
You have to come by. No, it's grown so much. I mean, TikTok just made them blow up, and the quality backs it up for sure. The service for sure. And I'm not tied to this place. Just I know my uncle is the executive chef, but I'm always super honest about it.
Yeah, no, I mean, from multiple sources, I've heard and from like locals that have been here for decades. Mm-hmm. They're like, oh, you want like a really unique Vegas experience for a steakhouse? Golden State. It's on Sahara, right before the Las Vegas Strip.
Exactly.
You know, right by, in between Sahara Hotel and Stratosphere, I believe, something like that.
Yeah. Right before. Right next to the 800 Hotel.
Yeah.
Just to put it that way.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I was impressed when you brought the bottle of Balvenie, the way you poured it. I'm like, that's a hospitality pour. You made sure it didn't spill. It was very fancy. It was very, obviously you know what you're doing.
Trick of the trade, I always say.
Wow. Mm-hmm. So Upkeep, this is going to be like your ticket out of the hospitality life, I imagine.
Yeah. No, yeah.
Just keep plugging away at it.
For sure. I mean, slowly transition into full-time I am full-time on Upkeep, but really putting more than my 8 hours into that.
Yeah. Wow. So when do you sleep, Jonathan?
It's tough, man. I mean, sometimes I get a good, if I'm lucky, 5 hours, 6 hours sometimes. But normally it's about 4.5.
We were saying earlier, I was like, do you have kids yet? And he was like, no. I'm like, good, wait.
Yeah, I don't have time for that right now, man. I'm busy from start to finish pretty much.
It's so funny whenever people say like, oh, quit your 9 to 5 and be your own boss, do your own thing. But like I feel like it doesn't get past the quitting stage. It's like the encouragement of quit your job and the excitement. Yeah, I quit my job. I told my boss, fuck off.
To me, it's a fear.
But then it's like, well, what is that entrepreneur life really like? I mean, if you think 40 hours a week is a lot, why would you encourage anyone to start their own business and be their own boss? I mean, you're going to have to work double just to keep afloat.
Right. I think social media has a huge play in this. I mean, making everybody want to be an entrepreneur, which is an amazing thing. But they don't realize how much it takes. It takes a toll in your life. I mean, you grow to be lonely. Your nights of going out to the bar in Las Vegas, it's over. You have to prioritize going home in your sleep to be able to perform the next day, or else you're going to be sleeping in. You're not going to be able to get the work done to grow and to push forward. It's hard. And I mean, circling back to what you said about leaving your 9 to 5 is just, to me, I want to say it's a scary thing because you rely on this to live.
Like there goes your safety net.
Correct. And let's say I'm putting all my marbles into this one project that I think it's going to do. But I'm more analytical. I want to be more secure, right? I am willing to put in the work that I have to do to make sure that there's a balance between both and then slowly start transitioning into full-time CEO.
What is the discipline on your end like? Like where does your motivation come from? Is it based on fear, perhaps, like you were mentioning? Like, how do you keep yourself going and disciplined? And, I feel like there's a lot of people out there that maybe they want to have that entrepreneurial life, but they just have a trouble being their own boss. Like they kind of almost need a boss to tell them what to do, when to wake up, when to be here, do this at this time, go eat lunch at that time, come back at this time. Like at least you're structured. Yeah, you might be getting yelled at. You might not be respected by this person that's constantly breathing down your neck, telling you what to do, but at least you have structure. So I think, like you were saying, the safety net goes away, but also the structure goes away, and you have to create your own structure.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people rely on this guidance to perform. My motivation behind it. It started with, of course, like everybody else's, right? Money. That was the thing, right? Getting rich, cars, everything. But being into this kind of role and just exploring this entrepreneurial life, it's more about helping. To me, at least to me, helping people. That's my fuel.
Like your driving force.
Yeah, it's my driving force. I love helping people. Like I said, I mean, we help local companies grow. And I mean, we're not going to stop in Las Vegas. We're gonna go to Phoenix. We're gonna go to Reno. We're gonna go to all major cities because that's our goal.
I feel like that's part of your hospitality background.
For sure.
Service industry, you want to provide the best experience for people. You want people to be happy at the end of the day.
Yes.
And you translate that over to a business that you started where you're solving people's problems, and you still, at the end of the day, someone like me, the homeowner who just wants to get the best deal, but also the best plumbing company. It's a win-win.
Yeah, it is a win-win. And hospitality does take a huge role in what I do. I mean, because it's not that like I'm just focusing on the consumer. I focus on two different markets. I focus on the business to business and business to consumer. So there has to be the happy medium to really keep both parties satisfied.
So how long have you lived in Vegas total?
Oh man, 2014. That's when I got here. 2014. So I'm going on 10 years consistently. Yes.
So you've seen this city change over and over.
For sure. When I bought my property, it was in a great price and great interest rate. You got it at
a good time. Yeah.
Yeah.
The good old days.
Yeah. The good old days, man. It's weird to even say that. Good old days, huh?
It is weird.
It changed.
Makes you feel old.
Much. Yeah. Yeah.
Makes you feel like when you hear our parents talk and they're like, oh, and candy bars used to be a nickel.
Oh my God. I've had so many epiphanies about that kind of thing.
And now we're saying, oh, back when prices were this, and back in my day, prices for that were, so. Yeah, but that's how it goes, right?
You catch yourself saying these things and you're like, damn it, I sound like my parents. Yeah.
We're going to end up like our parents anyway.
Yeah.
It is what it is.
Yeah.
If we could just do something a little bit different, something a step ahead or something that they didn't, know how to do, they didn't have the technology to do.
Well, I mean, I believe in, I'm a huge psychology geek as well. So I believe in breaking generational patterns and starting your own. So
yeah,
that's what it is about me.
What is the generational pattern that you're trying to break?
Growing up, I saw the way my uncles and my grandparents just relied on a job, and they did have their business for sure, but they kind of just told their kids work, even though they had their own business. And no, like, to me, I'm trying to break that pattern. It's about embracing entrepreneurship and really starting something on your own. And I want to do that. I want to have that support. And of course, if one day when I have kids, if they want to pursue a career working for somebody, then by all means, please do so. But for me, I want to make sure to bestow that entrepreneurial spirit into them.
As opposed to just forcing your kids to work for the family business?
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I had that similar situation with my dad. My dad obviously wanted me to not just work for him, but eventually take over. And I'm like, I was just too, arrogant and entitled and spoiled. And I'm like, nah, I'm going to do my own thing. And then I went into the comedy business at age 22, thinking like, oh yeah, I'm going to do this. And, I still had like similar like business acumen, that the way that I learned from my dad, just working at his shop growing up. But I feel you on this, like, do your own path, do your own thing kind of thing.
Yes.
But also in a responsible way. Like, it sounds like, okay, you're still working this gig over here to help fuel the dream over here, as opposed to, so even though you do have your eggs in the upkeep basket, you still kind of have, some kind of just stability. Do you feel like in case things don't work out, like, I guess, when do you feel like, okay, enough golden steer, thanks for the opportunity, but we're going to go full-time upkeep?
My plan is to really stick with golden steer as much as I can, right? Lowering my days, if I'm working 4 or 5 days, start lowering my days and stick there as much as I can, because it's a family-owned business. So they treat you really well. You meet great people. It's a great networking tool. I mean, you name it. But I definitely want to start transitioning into upkeep as soon as I can, because it's like a plant. You need to nurture it. You need to water it. And if you're not there, it's going to die.
100%.
It's going to die.
Yeah.
So I chose this route. I chose the route of starting my own business, and I need to follow it.
Do you have like a ultimate pinnacle when it comes to either upkeep itself or you, the entrepreneur itself? Like, what is your like all-time like bucket list? Maybe like, I really want to accomplish this before it's all said and done.
I want to see this through, right? I want to see this through as much as I can. I want to.
How far can we take upkeep?
I don't know. I think it's like any other company, right?
Yeah. Okay.
It's going to take a while. They call it a 20-year overnight success, right?
Yes. I love that quote. So, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So I want to see it through as much as I can. And it's not the only business I want to own. I want to get into different things. But one of my end goals, and I know earlier we were talking, I mentioned it, but I want to start an entrepreneur academy, man. I want to give people resources to really follow their dreams. It's hard. I mean, I've had it tough since I started, and it hasn't been an easy road, but it crafts character, and I want people to go through it. I want people to know that I want to have their best interests at heart. Mm-hmm.
What are like some of the worst obstacles that you've experienced thus far? to say that there's more coming.
Yeah.
But I kind of feel like you're never going to not have obstacles. You're just going to build, like you were saying, the character to overcome them and endure them. Like, you're always going to have them, but maybe it just gets easier to deal with. But what were some of some of the really rough ones that you probably any other person would have quit, but you just kept going?
I think there's a few. To start off, it's just the expense of it.
Okay.
If you don't have an investor with you from the start, I mean, it gets real tough. I've had to sell my property and bootstrap everything myself just because I believe in the goal so much. But then also there's things that people don't prepare you for. Just of recently, I'm incorporated with Delaware due to the investor side of things, right? But we work in Nevada. It's based out of Nevada, but the entity is in Delaware. I didn't know this, but you have to pay, like, of course, corporate tax. And they had a rule of thumb that they based each share of. And I got my bill, like my annual bill, and it came like $130,000.
Oh my God.
Yes. And I said, you know what? I guess this is it, you know?
Like, I'm just a golden steer. What do I?
It caught me by surprise. It was
That's unbelievable.
Yeah, no.
I can't imagine.
Luckily, I have a great team of lawyers that just figured it out and kind of guide me and taught me how everything has to go through. And yeah, it got better. And I think the biggest lesson that I had to learn is patience. I wanted to see an overnight success. I wanted to see 6 months. I said, you know what? In 6 months, this thing is going to blow up.
Right. We all like that fast,
yes.
You know, and even in the movies, like it's always a montage. Like I think of like the Rocky movies from the time that Rocky was like training and getting good. Like that was like what, 5 minutes in the movie with some Eye of the Tiger, some really pumped up music playing.
For sure.
But in reality, that's like 10, 15 years.
Yeah. I learned the hard way. I'll tell you that much. A lot of aches and pains due to the fact that I wanted to see it done quick. But patience, it takes a while. And again, a lot of people like to see the beginning and like to see the end. But I don't mean to name drop, but Alex Hormozy, one of the guys that I follow.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he says the same thing, right? Like, everybody is happy about the beginning. Everybody's happy and with you at the end, but nobody really is with you at the middle of it.
Yeah, and when you're like really in the grind.
Right. And that's where where you start to appreciate the patience and just have to stick with it.
Yeah, I think of comedian Bill Burr. Like, he would talk about this quote, killing in obscurity. He's just going from like no-name town to no-name town, and he himself is a no-name comedian at this time. He's doing well, but nobody knows.
Yes.
Like he's just killing in obscurity. Nobody knows who he is yet.
Yeah.
Nobody knows that he's got the goods. He's just plugging away.
Yeah. And another thing that is a tough thing to bear with is the feelings, right? The emotions that you get.
Yeah.
They're out, feeling lonely. I mean,
it's traumatic.
It is bad. But hey, you like entrepreneurship? Just know it's going to get tough. It's going to get lonely. But if you love it, pull through. It's going to be worth it at the end of it.
Yeah. Like, what keeps you pulling through? Because I mean, I was in the comedy world for 8 years, and it's I'm not going to say it's the same, but I'm feeling some similar themes. And one of that is definitely the loneliness, and definitely the it's always the hardest in the beginning. Like it was like a 90%, like you're going to quit in your first year type of thing, because it's just so brutal.
It is.
And it's so traumatic, all the emotions that you go through. And you know, for me, I think it was just like maybe it was a chip on my shoulder. Like, no, like F all these people who think I can't do it. Like, I'm going to show them. Like, what kind of keeps you going? Like, when you say like, just keep going, like, what is it in you that drives you through all that pain and suffering?
You know, it's a really complex question. I know it seems super simple, but I have all these local providers partnered with me, and I put myself last when it comes to them. I want to see them through. And not only that, I mean, I got great support. I have a great support system, a great tech team. I have mentors. I have a great psychotherapist with me as well. It's
great. That's amazing.
Oh my God. It's you have to. I recommend therapy to everybody because it allows you to express yourself in a way that you can't with anybody. Not your significant other, not anybody. Right? If you do that, if you do have that, I guess, trust with your significant other, it's great because you do get to let everything out, but sometimes they don't know how to guide you.
Or you don't want to worry them. Sometimes I'm really like struggling with something. I just don't want my wife to worry. Like, I don't want her to take on that anxiety. I don't want her to have the burden of the stress that I'm feeling. Yeah. So yeah, I get what you're saying. Like, someone that you can have that outlet with that isn't going to cause mass panic.
For sure.
At home.
It takes an army. I'll tell you that much.
Yeah.
It's not a one man army. It's an army.
That's the cool thing too, because everyone's like so quick to get a personal trainer and get like physical fitness, but like no one thinks about the mental fitness. Like that's kind of like your physical trainer, but for your brain as a therapist is the way I see it. It's like a lot of people, and it's just now turning But definitely my parents' generation, and I'm sure your parents' generation too, it's like a macho thing. It's
for
like,
sure.
It's just like, oh no, I don't need to see a shrink. Like they call it a shrink.
Yeah, no. Coming from a Hispanic background, man, I mean, they believe if you're
Like
crazy,
you're like
crazy.
weak, right? You're either crazy or weak, and it's
Right.
like this negative connotation. But really, it's like, but you'll go get a personal trainer that'll just tell you to like just bend and lift this and do that. But why can't you go see this person that's going to get your mind in shape?
Yes, and it's a huge thing right now, man. Mental awareness. I mean, mental health awareness is such a big thing right now. I think there's an app now called BetterHelp,
Yes.
right?
Yep.
I don't know if you've seen it on social media. I like what they do. They make it accessible to people, and it's beautiful, man, because you get to learn so much about yourself. And this is if you have the right therapist, though, right? I do. I'm grateful for her, but she calls me out on my shit, man. She will tell me you are wrong.
That's great.
Yes, you need to change that. And sometimes, even though I might get upset of the fact that she's calling me out, it allows me to understand who I am and how I can move forward from previous traumas, and then be better, not only in my life, but in my entrepreneurial journey.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's my biggest thing, man. And I've in the span of 8 months with her, because I've been only working with her for 8 months, I am at a point of my life where I think I'm I am at optimum.
That's amazing.
Yeah, I it's crazy. It's so good, so good.
And I'm sure it took a while just to find all those key players, the lawyers, the therapists, the people behind you, the people that help create the apps and all that type of stuff. I'm sure that was a trial and error process for a while.
For sure. And
Investors.
This is a huge thing with Vegas, right? It's about who you know, not what you know, right? The owner of Golden Steer owners, right? Michael Signorelli, Amanda Signorelli, and her husband Nick McGuire, they've been super helpful. They introduced me to the lawyers that I have now, right?
It's amazing.
They're lawyers for innovators. They're great
that.
people. Yeah. So she's great on startups and stuff like that. She helps me out a lot. Now, when it comes to everything else in life, it's been the mentors that I met at the Golden Steer.
Wow.
Yeah.
So this place is like ultra value to you, like in terms of
It holds a dear place to me.
Yeah.
In my heart, for sure.
Did you say it's golden? Hold on. I've always wanted to use that little sound.
Yes. Yeah, no, it is. I am so grateful for that place. You have no idea.
That's what I love about Vegas, though. Like going back to like what you're saying about it's a town of who you know. Like it's really a small town. It's got that big city feel. It's got people coming from all over the world.
For sure.
But really, the local scene, at least, what's the saying? I think it's like 30 million people visit every year, but only like 3 million actually live here.
Correct.
Something like that. So we all kind of run into each other. We all kind of know each other. Like it's only a matter of time before I'm going to see you somewhere in this town.
Absolutely. I mean, I think everybody is on the west side or southwest side of town now. Like when you run into people, it's around that side of town because there's such great restaurants. I'm a huge foodie, by the way.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So
do share.
Yeah. So, I mean, all those places, this is where I encounter all of my friends.
Yeah.
And people that I know, acquaintances. I run into them into these restaurants. I mean, a lot of people don't know. I mean, visitors from out of town. Yes, the restaurants in the Strip are amazing, but I can guarantee you we have such better food outside of the Strip.
Okay. So tell me if this is correct. But from what I've heard, you've got, obviously, like you said, the great restaurants on the Strip. But then what do you do when the mentors of those great chefs want to open their own restaurant, but there's no real estate to open a restaurant on the Strip? I've heard that they branch out to the burbs, like what you're saying, like the west and the southwest side. So it's like you've got these people who have studied under the greats, and now they want their own place. But if they can't open a place where the greats are stationed, they're going to migrate west or even east, maybe Henderson or something like that. But tell me what your thoughts are on that.
I guess it just depends on culture as well, right? I mean, I think it just depends on the cuisine that you're doing, right? Based on culture. I think that a lot of new, hip, and nice places are starting to pop up in the west side and southwest side of town. One of my favorite places is called Anima by Edo. I don't know if you've been.
I've heard of it. I've been to Edo, the tapas.
Yes.
Over, is it considered Chinatown? I think it's like Jones and Spring Mountain.
I think it's still on
the very where either ends or begins.
Correct. And well, actually, I think before that, it used to be this other place called Chata Street.
Okay.
Yeah, and that place was amazing.
And it's next to District 1, I believe, right? Have you been there?
I think so. No, I haven't been there. No, not yet. But yeah, it's a sister property, and they do such a great job there, man. It's great.
That's amazing.
It's great. But yeah, I mean, restaurants being some of the riskiest businesses out there. I mean, being in a town where I want to say 50% works in hospitality.
Right. It's a big hospitality city.
I think the odds of you succeeding in a local restaurant are a little bit higher.
Wow.
Yeah. I think just because everybody loves food here.
Absolutely. And you have to have the best of the best because it won't last.
Mm-hmm.
There's too many great restaurants in this town where if you're like average, you're still not good enough.
For sure.
You know, and then on top of that, you better have great customer service. That was the one thing that me and my wife noticed when we moved here. We were like, wow, everyone's so nice, like so accommodating. Like that. They don't take you for granted at all. Even though this is a touristy town where who cares? Like in my mind, who cares if we get up and leave? Like someone else will come in, but they really treat you like, thanks for being here. Like they're appreciative of you.
Yeah, and you get the big spenders in the restaurant business, right? I mean, the big ballers that spend $1,000+ per bottle, right? Mm-hmm. But the best customer is your returning customer.
Yep.
So
absolutely.
Yeah, as long as you have great hospitality and you treat them well, it'll pay off for sure.
Yeah. Do you have a favorite cuisine or a favorite, whether it's happy hour, lunch, brunch, dinner? Like what are some of your favorite types of restaurants out here?
I think that being in the steak industry, like the steakhouse industry, I can't do steakhouses anymore.
Burnt out. I get that.
Yeah. Sure. So I lean towards more of Italian cuisine.
Very nice. Yeah. There's a lot of great Italian restaurants in this town.
Yes, one of my favorites. It's called Al Solito Posto in Tivoli.
Heard great things about that. Love Tivoli Village.
Yes, man. I'm really good friends with some of the bartenders there, and I just literally every Sunday hop on my car, drive out there, sit at the bar, have a great bowl of pasta, dessert, and call it a day.
Amazing.
Yeah, no, it's a great place. That's one of my favorite spots. I mean, for me, I think that if I want to consider one a special occasion restaurant, I think it would be Carbone.
Okay.
At Aria. I think they have some great food, man. They're booked up like 4 to 6 months in advance.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's what I love. There's obviously going to be your overpriced restaurants on the strip just because it's on the strip, but then there's also really great restaurants on the strip. Like people kind of it almost gets a negative reputation. Like, oh, it's on the strip, therefore it's expensive. But there's also some really amazing restaurants there that are worth the price tag.
Yeah, I think everybody should experience it though. I think everybody should experience Hell's Kitchen, all the Gordon Ramsay stuff, you know? I think it's a one-time thing. At least for me it was. After that, I just said, you know what? I mean, I know what I like, so this is not it.
I know you're burnt out on steakhouses, but what are your thoughts on Bazaar Meat? I've heard a lot of great things. Haven't been there yet.
In my opinion, they did a great job. I think they did a great job before. I think now, last time I was there, it was good. The food was solid, but the hospitality, the service kind of was. Yeah. But I think that's the biggest thing because you can get great food. You can buy a great piece of steak anywhere, right? Like, I mean, Butcher Block, even Costco sells Prime now.
Sure.
So the thing that makes a huge difference in a restaurant is the hospitality. Yeah. So if you don't have that, your whole experience just gets ruined.
Interesting.
Yeah, no, and
it really does. It really does. Like it makes such a difference. You could have average food and great service versus great food and bad service, and you'll go back to the average place just because they made you feel good.
For sure, I think that's what differentiates restaurants. I think quality food is one of the things, but the most important thing is the service.
Yeah, 100%. All right, I promise. Last steakhouse question, just because you're in the steakhouse.
Fire away.
What would be like your top 3 steakhouses in this town, other than Golden Steer? Golden Steer, you're golden. You're already up there.
Oh, that's tough, man.
But the 3 below Golden Steer, where do we go?
Ooh, that's tough. That is very tough because John George is a great one. I think that's definitely one of my top 3. I'm not going to number them. I'm just going to say three of them.
Amazing.
John George does a great job.
Okay, and he's on the strip, off the strip.
Aria.
Okay.
SW at Wynn.
All right.
Also does a great job. And this is number 1 aside from Golden Steer, Harlow.
Ooh, okay.
Yes,
I've heard of that one.
Downtown Summerlin.
All right.
Oh my God. Best service ever.
Is that the one at the Red Rock Casino?
No. It's in downtown Summerlin.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Okay. In the town center area.
Exactly.
Okay.
Oh my God. They got great customer. I mean, the service there is impeccable.
Wonderful.
Yeah. The price tag is a little hefty, but I mean, it's worth it.
Okay. Yeah. It's a special occasion.
Correct.
Okay. All right. So let's steer away from steakhouses. What other, I wouldn't say that I'm a foodie, but me and my wife, we get excited when we find there's so many restaurants in this town. They're all so good. It's like we want to go to all of them. And then it's just physically impossible. Like the FOMO is at a high. Like you said, you're getting burnt out on steakhouses. What's your like comfort food? What do you like just to get away from the steakhouse?
I mean, I'll tell you, my daily is just chicken and rice. That's my thing. I like to keep it clean and easy. I'm going to label this as kind of late night first.
Yeah,
I think Herbs and Rye is a great one.
Love Herbs and Rye.
Yeah.
Great spot.
Yeah. For late night, especially
Sahara Decatur-ish area.
Yeah. Yeah, like Valley View, I believe. Yeah,
Yep,
yeah.
sounds about right.
Yeah, so that's a great spot for late night. I mean, they're open till 3. Happy hour is awesome.
Great whiskey selection.
Oh my God, great. And then their cocktail selection is amazing.
Yep.
I think that's definitely one of my favorites. Like I said, go-to is also Lido Posto. I think that's definitely one of my go-tos for sure.
Tivoli Village.
Anima by Ito.
Yep.
Oh my God, such great food there. You can go for a few tapas. Their wines by the glass selection, it is off the charts. So
Wow, okay.
Yeah. I think those are my only favorites here.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I'm trying to think. For me, what are your thoughts on capos like Sahara and Sahara Decatur,
Buffalo,
Sahara? Yeah, somewhere down Sahara, you'll find it. It's kind of like gimmicky. You know,
Yeah.
us being from Chicago, we love that like speakeasy vibe. It's I mean, it's like silly. Like you get there and there's like this little like that speakeasy. Like they slide they slide the thing in the door and you can only see the guy's eyes and he's all like, "Oh, what's the password?" And it's like really cheesy, but it's kind of fun. You know, we take our parents when they come to town, they get a kick out of it.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's solid because it kind of gives you what that mob feel that Vegas has.
It does,
right?
yeah. It's like you're in Al Capone's restaurant or something.
Correct. That's super dark in there, by the way.
It really is, yeah. And they've got like live performances, like whether it's a piano player. There was a magician that came to the table and did some card tricks while we're waiting for our food type of thing.
Really?
I've
never had that happen there.
Yeah.
Okay.
It gives you this like you're either in Al Capone's lair or maybe like a Great Gatsby type of vibe.
I can see
even.
that. I can definitely see that there.
But yeah, that's kind of another, talking about Italian, La Strega. You ever go there?
That's a sister restaurant to Alsolito.
No kidding.
Yeah, it's
okay.
all part of the food group. Yeah.
What about Nora's?
Nora's
Italian?
is solid.
Yeah.
Nora's is solid. Yeah.
Okay.
I think a lot of one of the ones that I think that is kind of up. I think it's a step above Olive Garden, but I think it's also very solid. North Italia.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah, I don't know if you've ever been there.
Yes.
Yes, I think it's
right across from Tivoli, Boca Park.
Boca Park. Yes. That place is solid. But La Striga's great. Esther's Kitchen. I mean, that's another one downtown by the Arts District. Also amazing.
Can't forget about downtown when it comes to restaurants.
Oh my God, they're growing so much.
How do you like Carson's Kitchen?
Yes, best. I think brunch spot is amazing. I think Circa has they have Berry Steakhouse. That's a great one for some scotch and some bites.
Okay.
Yeah.
There was a Italian place, Chicago Joe's. You ever go there? It looks like a house. It's like this little house.
Is that still on Fort Apache?
Couldn't tell you the street name. All I know is that it looks like a house from the street. And
Like brick, right?
Yeah, you think you're going inside someone, but beautiful patio as well. Like really solid Italian food.
Yeah, never been.
Like it really makes you feel like that. I mean, my parents are the ones that are like, "Oh, this is like old Vegas vibes," you know, and they've been coming here since the 70s. So, you know, I can only relate through them. You know, I don't know what Vegas was like in the 70s, but you know, I'll take their word for it. So
especially having Chicago in there. That's for you, man.
For sure.
Oh, man.
For sure. You got any happy hour spots? Any like places that good bars around town?
Man, I'm going to be completely honest. I think that I haven't been around the night scene too much just because for the past 2 years I've just been going to home and sleeping.
Yep. Good answer.
Spoken
like a true CEO, Jonathan.
No, man. Herbs and Rye.
Yes.
I think that's a solid spot. You don't have some great food, great cocktails, half off on steaks. That's the spot. That's the spot. Yeah.
Jonathan, it's been awesome talking to you, and I can't wait to have you on again because there's even more that I want to talk to you about. But just that we scratched the surface and just kind of got into Upkeep and all of everything that you're doing right now. I'm really excited to see your growth. I'm really excited to see when we have you on again how much things have improved, and great food recommendations.
Yeah.
This has been awesome. Great whiskey again. Shout out Balvenie 12-year.
Thank you for having me.
Delicious, man. I'm really pumped that we got you on here, and I can't wait to put this out.
Absolutely, man. Next time, I mean, anytime you want to have me on here, I'll bring some good whiskeys, for us to sip on,
This is amazing.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Thank you for having me, man.
And thanks for being here.